I have a little confession. Growing up, I loved Legos. Two types of Lego builders exist. Some people go page by page through the instruction booklet, open all the bags when they're ready to be opened, and build it perfectly. Others, like me, dump all the pieces into a pile, toss the booklet to the side, and just figure it out as they go. I remember always being leftover pieces. There was always pieces left over. Each of their approaches is probably pretty good indication of their personalities. There are just some people who love a good set of instructions and some who don't do so well with them. While I can understand both groups, one group leaves me confused. It's the in-betweeners, the people who read through the instructions and then toss them aside. Sometimes we all take a look at the instructions and toss them to the side, never to be thought about again. Maybe we do this because we like the idea of making a change so we can take the first step. But when it comes down to it, we don't want to put in the work. Why do we keep looking at the instructions if we won't actually follow them? Or maybe the better question is, why do we keep looking for instructions in the first place? Regardless of what instructions you look at, deep down, I think a lot of us do it for the same reason. We all want to build a better life. Building a good life and being a good person starts with integrity. When we started this series, we said a simple equation: integrity equals authenticity plus good character. To put it another way, integrity means living as the real you and demonstrating good character. Jesus said many different things about integrity and building a better life. Much of what Jesus taught is recorded in the New Testament, known as the Sermon on the Mount. At the end of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus shared one last idea through a parable, which is a fictional story that teaches us a lesson. In this one, he used an example of building a house to show what it's like to build our lives. And it says this: "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on a rock. The rain came down, the streams rose up, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash." What made all the difference was there was a house that was built on a type of foundation that they each had. He explained that building our lives on a firm foundation matters. When we act with integrity, we build our lives on something stable, something that can weather difficulties that happen in life. If we try to build our life on something like feelings, our own desires, or what benefits us in the moment, our lives will be shaky and unstable. Through Jesus' words and actions, he gave us instructions for how to build a life on strong, stable foundation. That looks like acting with integrity and choosing to live the way that Jesus taught us to live. So that means that integrity follows what Jesus says is best. There's a lot of ways that integrity aligns with what Jesus said, but integrity also looks different in different situations. So where do we start? Well, we can start by learning more about Jesus, staying in that word. Second is following Jesus' example. So let's look at his life and ministry in the New Testament of the Gospels and see how he lived his life and treated those around him. And always remember that integrity follows what Jesus says is best. And here's an example of that. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's found in Matthew 22, verse 36 through 39. And as the second part of the verse, practicing loving those around us is a big deal. When we love people, even when they're mean to us or snappy with us or don't talk to us or disregard us, we can make them curious about, why is this kid still being nice to me? When we do those three things, we will be well on our way to building a better life and doing this with integrity. We all want better lives, and we need to build them with Christ. Living with integrity doesn't promise that life will be easy. In fact, we should always wonder if we're building our lives on rock or sand. We should always have that question when we're reacting to stuff. But remember, when we practice following Jesus by doing what he said, he and we can build lives with better foundations. So go out there and love in such a way that it makes people curious about what's different about you. And then you can share that you love them because somebody loved you first. And that person's name is Jesus. Go out there and love curiously.